Hey Philly, how do we solve our housing crisis, or make our city safer, or make sure our voice has more power than big money in politics? Find out November 14th and 15th at the Philadelphia Citizens 7th Annual Ideas We Should Steal Festival, presented by Comcast NBC Universal. Hear from change makers from across the country, like best-selling author Michael Eric Dyson, MSNBC's Ali Velshi, actress-activist Deborah Winger, and many more. Visit thephiladelphiacitizen.org/IWSS. Use code CitizenFriend for $10 off. That's thephiladelphiacitizen.org/IWSS. And remember, all great change started with one idea.
Today on CityCast Philly, it's the break of dawn on the morning after Election Day, and we're wide awake and highly caffeinated to bring you the latest results from the presidential, U.S. Senate, and statewide races. It's Wednesday, November 6th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this early morning is Matt Katz, our executive producer here at CityCast Philly. Hey, Matt.
Good morning, Trenae.
And Abby Fritz, our producer. Hey, Abby.
Hi, Trenae.
It's 5 a.m. post-election. Let's get right into it, y'all. Starting with the race for president of the United States. You know, this was a race we always knew would come down to Pennsylvania. Matt, what's the latest results on the presidential race?
Yeah, this is literally coming in right now. We're just after 5:30 in the morning. Donald Trump is the president-elect. I'm looking at the Inquirer website. They have called the race for President Trump, former President Trump, and it is in no small part because of Pennsylvania. We like you said, we knew that Pennsylvania was the big swing state that the candidate who was going to win had to get, and he did more decisively than the polls indicated win Pennsylvania. And when you drill down there, he did really well in a bunch of critical counties in Pennsylvania, and he did far better than he ever had in two elections before in Philadelphia. And because of that, he has been declared a winner in the presidential race. Before the media outlets officially declared him the winner, he did speak and address supporters. Let's hear a little bit about what former President Trump said about his apparent victory.
But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
So guys, I mean, we saw these signs of momentum for Kamala Harris in the city over the last few weeks, a bunch of big Harris events over the last few days. She was here in Philly the night before the election to try to really push out that vote, and it did not translate into a big enough win for her. I mean, and in fact, she did worse in Philly than her predecessors had. Obama won 85% of Philly in 2012. Hillary Clinton and then Joe Biden in the next two presidential races won about 82% of Philly. And we don't have the final numbers. This has not been certified yet, but we have most of the vote, and it looks like she just won 78% of Philly, and Trump got more than 20% of the city. That's better than he has done both times before, both of the times he had run previously. So that means 1 out of every 5 people in Philly are walking around happy this morning, and 4 out of 5 are going to be pretty upset. Harris's campaign really hobbled in Philly and nationally, obviously. The people that voted for her and that generally expected her to win and that really believe Trump is a threat to the future of this country, those people are feeling pretty upset and genuinely scared this morning.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to talk more about the Trump-Harris race in just a minute. But Abby, do we know anything about the race for U.S. Senate here in the state between incumbent Democrat Bob Casey and Republican Dave McCormick? This race was also neck and neck over the last few weeks.
Yeah, we do. So Dave McCormick, a hedge fund manager and Trump ally, is beating the incumbent Democrat Senator Bob Casey. This race has really revolved around Casey being more favorable to a women's right to choose and Casey alleging that McCormick has long lived out in a Connecticut mansion, not in Pennsylvania. So you really have a red wave out here in Pennsylvania so far.
Okay, so what do we know about who controls the U.S. Senate at this point?
Yeah, it looks like the Republicans control the Senate, and we don't even have the winner yet from Pennsylvania officially, but it looks like a future Senator McCormick from Pennsylvania will be part of the majority party in the Senate.
Matt, we also have been following the other races down the ballot for the other statewide offices. Where are we with Attorney General?
Yeah, Republicans won all the statewide offices, the offices that we've been talking about on the show over the last couple of weeks, the offices that were the big races here for us locally beyond president and Senate. So Republican Dave Sunday won the Pennsylvania Attorney General's race over Democrat Eugene DePascali. Auditor General Timothy DeFord defeated Malcolm Kenyatta from Philadelphia for the Auditor General position. And Stacey Garrity, Republican, defeated Erin McClelland to become the next Pennsylvania treasurer. So again, a Republican sweep on all these major statewide offices.
Okay, we've got more on what we know so far about how Philly voted after the break. All right, let's talk about what we saw last night during Election Day. When it came to voting, I saw long lines at my polling location up in Roxborough during the 7 a.m. hour on Tuesday. And that could have been maybe because of the energy around this election or the fact that there were 4 precincts who were voting at this particular polling location. What did you guys see out there when you were out and about yesterday?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of walking around yesterday, and I saw a ton of I voted stickers. I also saw some people walking around in Harris and Trump merch, saw someone with a Trump flag walking around parts of Center City. So definitely a lot of people publicly kind of showing off who they were voting for. And then at my polling place, there was a DJ, which was cool. And it literally took me like 3 minutes to get through the whole line. So it was really fast for me, even though I went like around 5, which I thought it might be a little busier, which is totally unlike what we heard coming out of Lehigh, where some people were waiting like 6 hours in line to vote. And then out in Cambria County near Pittsburgh, where voting hours even had to be extended because of some of the software malfunctioning. But at least for me, it was cute. There were families out there voting together. I saw someone taking a picture with their kid and their I voted sticker. Lots of good spirits, both from the election officials and the people voting. So a lot of energy out here in South Philly all day yesterday.
And a lot of that did seem to be coming from Democrats. I mean, they did seem to be, vibing in Philly in a way that felt like Harris was going to get more than the 78% or so that she apparently ended up getting. It felt like, more than 90%. Celebrities who had converged on the city over the last couple of days. Oprah was here introducing Kamala Harris at a huge rally at the Rocky Steps Monday night. Paul Rudd was handing out water while De La Soul played at the polls in West Philly. Like you said, Abby, long lines, and it was just expected that those long lines and those voters were going to overwhelmingly be in Harris's favor and push her over the finish line in Pennsylvania and for the country. And that is absolutely not what happened.
Yeah, you know what? I actually grabbed some dinner at Chubby's, one of my new favorite cheesesteak spots. And I saw someone that listed all of the reasons why they were voting for Trump on a flag on top of his pickup truck. And I also was out at Rosie's taco bar in Rittenhouse where people were watching the results. Then I walked over to University City and stopped at a voting event at World Cafe Live, where I met a first-time voter, 20-year-old Sabrina Guau. She's a junior at Penn, and she's from Northeast Philly. She told me this is her first time voting, and I asked her how she feels.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of emotions. So I went to the Harris pep rally yesterday. The energy was there. Like, I loved it. Like, I think her speaking, like, really resonated. Like, just her speech made me really proud that, like, I'm already voting, or I already voted. I think right now, because the results aren't in yet, especially for swing states like PA, I'm not that anxious right now. Like, I think
it's nice to hear a young voter energized, but that energy this morning is really going to be sapped in a way that I think will be pretty hard for her and for other people in Philly. People are going to be walking around in a way that I remember they were after Hillary Clinton lost, and people in Philly expected she would win 8 years ago. We're going to hear a lot of concerns about whether literally people will be speaking in the coming days about whether our country's democracy can survive over the next several years. And there's going to be a foreboding about whether the darkness and negativity that's going to be coming out of our political leaders in a more extreme way than what even we've seen before. We'll talk more about that on the show, I'm sure. But it's going to be the mood is going to be a lot different than it has been in the city over the coming days than it has been for the last few days.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of on that note, there was some unsettling things that happened yesterday. Authorities said that Russians organized an email operation where they called in phony bomb threats to 10 polling places, a lot in South Philly, like just south of Washington and east of Broad. These polling places had to be evacuated. So, you wonder if that might have affected some people's access to voting.
City Commissioner Seth Bluestein, a Republican, one of the three officials in charge of voting in the city, he had to get on MSNBC last night to talk about what happened with this email operation from the Russians and the evacuations of some of these polling places.
Yeah, there were concerns at about 10 polling places right at the end of the day. One polling location actually needed to be evacuated for a short period of time. So voting was extended there for about 23 minutes.
That was City Commissioner Seth Bluestein. Abby, Matt, let's leave it here for right now and let's get some rest. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you so much, Trenae.
Thanks, Trenae.
We'll be continuing to get you the latest about the election in the CityCast Philly podcast and the Hey Philly newsletter. Stay tuned for the latest election news and analysis first thing tomorrow morning. I'll talk to you then. Bye.